Familiar Wilson's Media. Relationships are the story.
You are made of meat, my friend, all the way down.
The following podcast uses words like and also. If you're not into any of that shit, then now's your chance.
3, 2, 1.
Run.
Super familiar with Wilson's. Get it!
Welcome to Super Familiar with the Wilsons. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Josh.
Why are you laughing?
Because I had my finger pointed at you that you should start, but you were looking away. So
I was looking at the dog.
Sitting there pointing at you. It's another mailbag episode. So we have a nice letter from Refined Gay Jeff. But first, some updates about members of the Wilson family. Winthrop has some news.
So Winthrop is starting a new soccer season. After last season ended, he was a little meh about doing it again. But we decided, the mother and the father of Winthrop decided it was good for him. It's good exercise. He needs to get out. So we registered him yesterday, presented a unified front last night to tell him that this was happening. And his response was, fine.
Here's the thing. It's so funny because when I was a kid, my dad would be like, oh, you're doing something. And then I would have to go do it. I feel like sometimes we struggle as parents telling him you're going to do this or that. I think sometimes it's possible that we give him too much choice.
Yes. I mean, I am sensitive to making sure that everybody in this family feels like they have choice. It is it's not unusual for the youngest child to feel like they don't have choice, but you're right. I think that I have gone too far the other way and give him way too much choice.
Wait, what did you just say?
Were you not listening to me?
No, I'm what? You said you're what? You said, do you think I'm what?
I said that I've gone too far the other way and given him too much choice.
Right, but then that would make me what?
Oh, I'm sorry. That would make you not wrong.
It's such a struggle for you. It's we're kind of doing a bit here, but it's still such a struggle for you to say that I'm right. So anyway, Winthrop is starting soccer is the point of all this.
Yes.
And Amanda, we got the email today. What is his new mascot?
Yeah, so he's going to be on the Mighty Eagles.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, when he was a Mighty Wolf, you would...
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So what are you going to do for the Eagles? Oh my God, I hate you so much. Oh my God, if you wake up this child, I'm going to be so angry at you. I cannot believe you just did that.
The machine, the computer, it actually popped up a warning that I've never seen before.
I think the dog is under my feet. The dog has gotten out of his bed and is under the chair under my feet.
The thing is that I don't know what that's going to sound like.
You need to warn people because you're not going to be responsible. Jeff listens to this when he drives to work. You cannot be responsible for Jeff running off the road.
It's funny because I guess a year ago or so, our friend Antonio, I think it was listening, and I'd put a sound effect in a little bit too loudly, and he definitely had a fright. It's funny. It reminds me of the time where the guy who I used to work for was like this crusty guy. I almost said crusty old guy, but he's only 10 years older than me, but he presented as just like Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino, get off my lawn type of attitude. So he definitely carried himself as older than he actually was. But he was telling this story, cracked me up because I pictured it. He would go running every morning, and he'd be running in his much shorter shorts and t-shirt, listening to music. And he said that he was listening to Dire Straits' "Money for Nothing." Now, if you're familiar with this song, you know that it starts real chill with some synthesizers, and then Sting going, "I want my MTV." Mm-hmm. And it goes on that for what feels like hours. And then all of a sudden there's this drum break that's just all of a sudden, ba-da-dun. Mm-hmm. He said that he heard that and he jumped almost off of a cliff because he thought that someone
No.
was behind him or something shooting at him.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I definitely don't want to cause anyone to jump off a cliff.
No, yes, please don't. We should also say that we typically record on a Sunday morning and it's lovely and I have my coffee and I look at the birds. Well, no. It's after 9:00 on a Tuesday night. I have already had my sleepy time tea and Josh comes in here and says, okay, get up where we're going to record. So, all right, fine. I'm doing this all for you all, but nobody signed up for that noise.
Yeah.
And if you just undid all of my sleepy time tea and I'm going to be wired for the rest of the night because my adrenaline spiked, you're staying up with me.
Well, I'm going to stay up anyway. The only reason I have the energy to record this late is because I had a large coffee and I didn't have decaf like I usually have. I had calf.
Yes.
So I'm just giving myself to the fact that I probably won't fall asleep until 12:30. That's just a thing.
Oh God, that means I'm not going to sleep either. Do you remember the night that somebody was standing next to our bed and then I couldn't sleep and made you stay up with me for the rest of the night?
Yes, we've told this story, and it was a balloon.
Yeah, but we both woke up screaming.
Yeah,
and but I mean, we legit
yeah. That's the story is that there was a one of those Mylar balloons that maybe I'd given you for Valentine's Day or whatever.
It was a Valentine's balloon.
But it was flying above the bed on her side. But we both woke up in the middle of the night screaming, and both of us thought that someone was in the room. And so I didn't sleep for the rest of that night because it's not the fact that I imagine there was someone in the room, because I have nightmares all the time. I wake up, takes me a few seconds to calm myself down. I go to sleep. But the fact that you pictured the same thing, folks, I am here to tell you that freaked me the hell out. And so I was up, and we turned the lights on too.
Yeah. We have the lights on.
Big, brave, 40-plus-year-old people scared of the dark. And then the next day is when we realized that, oh, it's that balloon. And we both became aware of that balloon.
Yeah.
Kind of at the same time.
I don't know, because this house, though, we were renting this house and the people that we were renting it from, their like elderly aunts lived in it. And I'm very sure that somebody died in this house. So it just kind of, I think, already had like some sort of feeling to it. And then Winthrop, we moved out of that house when he was about to turn 4. So I don't know, maybe he was like 2 or 3. He was sitting on my lap in the living room, and we had that club chair then, and it would swivel, and I was sitting there, and he just looked up and stared behind me, and he said, "Mommy, who's that man?" And I said, "What man?" He said, "The one with the umbrella."
I'm here to tell you that so many people, so many generations of people have lived and died on this earth. I'll bet you there's very few places that we can go that's occupied right now by human beings hadn't had a person die there. Like, I'm certain there's people who died here on this property before this house was developed.
No, I agree with that, but I do have a question. Why are there no modern ghosts? Like, when you hear the ghost stories and you see the ghost things, they're
on
all
TV,
like,
when you see these shows on TV.
yeah, but nobody's rolling up in like a Def Leppard t-shirt with some jelly bracelets and like their Wayfarers on. Like, they all have the pinafores and they're all like in the Civil War uniforms.
I want to know why it is that you're complaining why there's no modern ghosts, but the picture you just painted is a ghost from the 80s.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So people died in the 80s. So where are those ghosts?
Yeah, I don't know. So let's get to our letter. I don't know where the hell this all came from. Let's get to our letter from Refined Gay Jeff. He wishes us a happy spring break for us because he sent it last week. And we did have spring break last week, but it wasn't really much of a break for me because I worked right through. Yep. And it wasn't really a break for you because you were working as well, just from home because Winthrop was off.
I had some real COVID quarantine flashbacks because I was trying to work with him wanting the attention, and it was a little bit triggering. I did take the day off on Friday and took the kids to a farm not too far from here, and we did some strawberry picking, and then he got to go to Dave and Buster's. So they both had a good end to the spring break.
Yeah, no, it was good, but I could definitely tell that you were a little on edge by the end,
Yep.
end of the week.
Yep. I was ready for us to have other people in our lives during the daytime.
So last week we talked about neighbors, and so Jeff has some thoughts on neighbors, which I thought that he would. He says, personally, and this makes me sad, but I think that people are not as invested in their neighbors as they need to be. Well, that really was what we were talking about last week, and on that front, I am finding myself, now that I had that thought in my mind, I am finding myself in positions to talk to, like today we went walking and we talked to people in our neighborhood. I really do feel like with anything, the more we talk to ourselves about it and tell ourselves it's important, the more we're presented with opportunities, or we notice opportunities. So more to come on that, because the Wilsons are going to break through and make our neighbors like us.
You will like me, damn it.
Jeff continues. He says, it has become common for households to just stay within their own parameters and eschew getting to know their neighbors like we used to. I don't know if people are just scared or really just want to keep to themselves for fear of getting involved in others' lives. I'm going to tell you that the third option that Jeff has not spelled out is this: everyone's so damn tired.
Yeah, it's true.
Work will wring you out, and so you come home and you just want to lay down and blob out. Now, do I think that's a great use of our time? Not necessarily, but it's easy to do, and so people can fall into that habit. Personally, Jeff says, I feel that you can involve yourself in others while not getting all up in their business. Well, where's the fun in that?
I was gonna say, I like being up in people's business from afar. Like, if you want to have an argument outside in your front yard, I'll listen to it.
What were we doing the other day where we were outside? We're sitting on our postage stamp of a patio in the postage stamp back garden, and we have a fence. We can hear everything going on, and we were just trying really hard to hear the different conversations that were happening.
There were children screaming out there, screaming, and she was screaming, stop talking.
Yeah.
She was screaming at her sister, and then the dad came out and screamed at them to stop yelling, or yelled at them to stop screaming, whatever. So clearly we know where they got it from.
Yeah, there you go. So he goes on, Jeff does. He says, when I was a small child, my neighbors included my great aunt and uncle next door, along with my great grandmother that lived with them until she passed. So again, he's from a little old town in South Carolina where families are probably a little bit more likely to live in proximity.
Sure.
We don't have that.
No.
Well,
I've never lived next door to family, though.
my ex-wife lives in the neighborhood over, and my ex-in-laws live 3 houses down.
We do live near your family.
Jeff and Jill across the street, who are the same age as my brother and me. Mr. Leroy, who lived directly next door. My Uncle Lloyd, we called him Uncle Lord for years, who lived diagonally across the street. Mr. Roy and Miss Lucille, 2 houses down. Can you tell it's a southern town here?
Yes.
Did you used to do that? Because your family's southern. Was it like Miss Lucille and Mr.
Oh yeah, everybody got a miss, and a mister to their first name. Yes.
He says, one of my fave childhood memories was sitting on Mr. Leroy's porch with my brother Craig and Jeff and Jill from across the street, listening to him tell stories, asking him questions, and just talking for the hell of it. And that's another thing that we don't really do anymore is
just visit. We call that visiting.
Yeah, but visiting with the older generation.
That's true, too.
Which I guess, are we the older generation?
We are now, yes.
Jeez. Awesome neighbors there as well. Randy, a South Carolina highway patrolman, and his wife, Amanda.
Oh, hey.
Blackie, a game warden, obviously a nickname, and I never learned his given name my entire life, and his wife, Holly, whose family owned textile mills and was worth $500 million. The family, not Holly. It never went to her head that she was so wealthy. Oh, maybe she is worth that much. Oh, or she was. And then also Elliot and Elaine diagonally across the street. A lot of alliterative couples here. And Mr. Parks diagonally across to the left. Bill and Brenda behind us again with the alliterations. And Sam and Janice behind us. I could also name every other person in the neighborhood just because that's how we were. The neighborhood kids all treat each other like their mom and dad, and the mom and dads all treat us like their kids. So does that mean that and this is a question for you, Jeff, did the neighborhood moms and dads have permission to discipline the children?
That's a good question.
When you were growing up, did you have that kind of neighborhood where everyone was like, no, you didn't?
No, I mean, we knew our neighbors, but it wasn't like Shelby and Helen lived across the street and they had Stingray Corvettes that they showed at car shows.
Oh, very nice.
So, and they were older and they had a pool that we could swim in. That's what I remember.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know
that.
the name of anybody else in our neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Except the girl that wanted me to wait on her while we were being chased by a retired canine.
Yes. So then he talks about his neighbors today, and I think this is really interesting. Right next door to my left are Jaime and his wife, Gregoria. Jaime is a contractor, so he's the one who did my new roof
nice.
and fence and has done so many other things for me as well. See, again, this is the beauty of knowing your neighbors.
Yes.
That definitely benefited him. He was in Houston. All of those crazy storms have gone up and down through Houston for the last few years, right?
Yeah.
And he's had roof problems more than once, and Jaime was able to help him because he knew his neighbor.
That's really great.
And his neighbor was helpful. Yep. He also says he throws killer parties and hires his own DJ for the backyard.
Nice.
Also brings me all kinds of barbecue or fresh fish if he's having a fish fry. Well, that is awesome.
Josh would like to live next to Jaime.
I really would. Angela and Levi are across the street. Santos and Monica are diagonally across the street. Kick-ass lesbians Jenny and Lauren are diagonally across the street. John beside me and John behind me, surrounded by John. John to the left of me, John to the right of me. I am supremely blessed with incredible neighbors, and everyone actually likes everyone.
That's great.
I do think, however, it is incumbent upon us to seek our neighbors out at first and make these introductions and establish those pre-relationships.
Okay, but here, can I interrupt here? Because, Jeff, this is the question. We've lived here for 4 years. Is it too late?
I would say, well, clearly it's not. Clearly it's not because, like, I want us to do it. And you're supposed to be the social one.
Yeah, but I get social anxiety too.
No, it's not what I signed up for.
Oh, thanks.
You're supposed to counter my social anxiety with your outgoing nature.
Well, I also you're an extroverted introvert, so I thought I was getting an extrovert, and I got an introvert. So somehow we wound up not at all. I don't like where this conversation's going. I think my sleepy time tea is. I love you. My sleepy time tea is kicking in. I love you. Get back to Jeff, please.
Okay. He said he's sorry that I had that experience of seeing your neighbor as she was exiting the shower. Yes, the first naked woman I saw.
Yeah.
I was like 6, 7, or 8.
It's not traumatizing, confusing probably.
He says, I cannot remember the first time I saw a naughty woman. No, a nude woman. I guess that's a good thing. Different strokes. You never said, but was the woman aware you saw her? Oh, yes. I mean, we're talking about me going into the bathroom from the outside door from the patio, and she was right there. Like she was just getting out. Mm-hmm. If I close my eyes...
You can see it all still?
I can see it all still. He says, the closest I came was years ago when I was in my apartment here in Houston, and my next door balcony neighbor was in various stages of undress while on the balcony. This was not unfortunate because he was actually a member of the now defunct professional hockey team, the Houston Aeros. That's AEROS.
Oh, like aerospace?
Yeah. Which would make sense for Houston. To say that he was incredibly fit and muscular would be a supreme understatement. That man could have had a career in any fitness fashion magazine in existence. Let's say I still think of him every time I see a hockey stick.
Good memories, Jeff. Good.
My question for you, Jeff, does he tape his stick? Anyway, I do have a monk story that kind of corresponds with your Benedictine monk in last week's Game Time.
I was like, where did we know monks? Okay, it was Game Time, yes.
I don't think I've ever met a monk. Have you ever met a monk?
I have. Have
you met a monk? Where did you meet a monk?
I have. In Japan.
Where does one go to meet monks?
In Japan.
Okay. You had to go to another country. Go ahead.
Well, it was really interesting because my sister-in-law at the time, so they were living on the Navy base in Yokosuka. My brother was stationed there. And she was tutoring. I don't think it was a Buddhist monk. I think it might have been a Shinto monk. I can't remember. A monk in English. And what he wanted to do was read from the Bible. Like he wanted he wanted his English lessons to be out of the Bible because he wanted to try to understand like Christianity.
Oh,
Anyway, I met him while I was there.
I was gonna. Did that work out for him? Did he come to understand it?
No, I don't think that he was trying to convert. I think he just wanted to be able to talk to people. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
So this is Jeff's story here. Back in the late 90s, my family went to Italy, which I've talked about before. We took a side trip to Assisi to tour the Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. It's one of the most beautiful, well-preserved medieval towns in all of Europe. Walking the streets was just as it was in the 1100s. Sorry.
11,000s is
I'm
quite
sorry.
some time from now.
Yeah, no. When St. Francis was born. On our tour of the Basilica, we had a Franciscan monk that went into great detail about life in the monastery, and it was fascinating. But imagine our utter surprise and delight when we found out that the monk talking was from Snellville, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Just right outside of Atlanta. I did not see that coming in this story.
No.
He was delightful, and he still had his southern accent, even though he had been there for quite some time. Since we were from upstate South Carolina, he, of course, knew our hometowns and the area. I think he got a big kick out of seeing us.
That's really fun. It's always nice when a little bit of home, right? A little bit of home when you're traveling.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me. When I moved up here to Gainesville, first of all, I came across a lot of people who are from Miami.
Yeah, that happens.
Which surprised me. And then I saw this girl in the grocery store.
Was she naked?
No, she was most definitely clothed. If she was naked, you would have heard the story before now. And I kind of saw, we made eye contact. I'm like, I know you. She had gone to my church in Miami when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And she's old like me, and there she was. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That is weird. Would not expect that. I would expect to find people, I guess, in Miami from other places, because Miami is a big place.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to meet people. But little old Gainesville, I was shocked.
Well, I don't know if I told you, and I don't want to deviate too much from Jeff's letter, but I do. When we were coming back from Atlanta, speaking of Atlanta,
Yeah.
and we stopped at Buc-ee's, and I was in line to go to the bathroom, and it was really long. And this is when Winthrop was having his car sickness. So I don't know if I told you the story or not, but I was in line and I heard this woman talking in front of me, and she said something about being from Lakeland. Well, that's where I'm from, Lakeland, Florida. And I said, "Oh, I'm from Lakeland." And she turned around and we just happened to be in line, right? And she's in front of me. So we started talking. We went to the same high school. She's about 10 years older than me, lived on the same side of town. And I said something, and then the woman behind me goes, "Wait, what? Are you from Lakeland?" And we said, "Yeah." She was from Lakeland, but none of us were together. We just happened to be 3 people in a row from the same town.
And then you came to find out you were related.
No, we weren't related.
Okay.
Well, I mean, possibly we could be, but yeah, it's just like, we weren't.
And that was in Warner Robins, Georgia.
That's right.
That we were in. Okay, so although I guess you're more likely to meet someone that you know in Buc-ee's.
Because there's 5 million people in Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's is like a city-state.
Yes.
Buc-ee's
It's
doesn't
insane.
have a manager, it has a mayor.
Buc-ee's managers make so much money because they have to manage the town.
Jeff ends his letter by saying, "Josh, do you ever stand at your privacy fence and talk to your neighbors showing only half your face and become a real-life Wilson character from the TV show Home Improvement? If not, you're missing out on an experience that could right the world of all of its strife right now." Wilson, if I remember correctly, was a very cool dude. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. He says, "I hope the rest of the week brings joy, and we'll talk later. Peace and cookies, Jeff."
Good night, Jeff.
If you would like to get in touch with us, email us at familiarwilsons@gmail.com. We will answer questions about ourselves. We will solve your problems. We'll give you lottery numbers. We'll do all the things.
We have never won the lottery, so I don't know that it will be productive for you.
My luck is to pick 6 numbers for someone.
I know, and they win.
And then they just, and I'll be like, oh, well, first of all, they won't tell me, right?
You won't get a commission.
I won't get a commission, but if I find out, they'll be like, "Wilson who?"
Right?
Absolutely. No,
Yes.
not going to do it. All right, folks, that's the end of this mailbag episode. We did have a really long and interesting to us conversation with Chris Barron, lead singer of the Spin Doctors, earlier in the week. So I'm going to edit that to something that's usable and let you all hear that. Maybe I'll break it into parts. We talked about all sorts of different things.
Well, it's fun because this is what, like the fourth time that we've had a conversation. The fifth time. I think you and he are kind of texting buddies every once in a while, but I think we're developing sort of just like this, like a little bit of a weird friendship. And so it was just kind of like hanging out for an hour and catching up with somebody.
I don't think there's anything weird about it.
No, I mean weird in the like, we met this person off of Twitter and now we like know things about each other that probably we don't talk about. Meaning like grief, that sounded a little weird, but like grief and other things, like we talk about pretty heavy things, and it's pretty cool just how connected the world can be and how isolating at the same time.
Very good. This is a comedy podcast. What else cool has happened? Oh, I've started another podcast with this gentleman called Brent Ransom.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing like this. It's a business podcast. I met him at a training, like a management training, and started talking to him. And yeah, so be looking for that. If you're in any sort of situation where you're a supervisor or a manager or something like that. He's really smart and he has really good advice to give on being a leader. And then also, I just set up for Chicken Tom his very own podcast hosting platform, and his first episode is ready to go, and that's called In-Law and the Outlaw, with him and his country ass son-in-law. So that'll be fun. So be looking for that. All sorts of cool things. So until next week, you all take it easy and be nice to each other.
No, that's my line.
No, your line is go be kind. You always forget.
No, I know my line, but basically it's a synonym. I don't know. I'm tired. Go be kind.
Goodbye.
Bye.